All right, you guys, you've been asking for it, so I'm gonna do it. I was cleaning out the truck, so let's go through a little walkthrough on a mobile marine mechanic. Pretty new business. I'm gonna show you my layout, and then you guys can do what you want with that information. So I laid out a few tools to start with. This is gonna be marine mechanic specific. I predominantly work on all inboards, so it kind of caters to that. But let's start on the right here. Some specialty tools. Prop pullers, okay, especially for you new guys. These are going to be a lot of your bread and butter. Bravo, Volvo Penta, inboards, ski boats, some alignment tools, okay. These are going to be things you have. Creature comforts, fan, knee pad, must-haves. Gear lube bucket, okay, so this is going to be for your Volvo Pentas. I got another one for Mercruiser. You're going to be using this on all your stern drives and your little outboards. Another creature comfort, a speaker. I'll use this blanket to line the inside of the boat as well. Some must-haves, get yourself a silicone tray. For any inboard guy, get yourself one of these, whether it be name brand off Amazon. This will be a 5/16 1/4-inch flexible nut driver. This is going to save your ass on all those complicated, difficult to reach hose clamps. I got just a Harbor Freight sprayer. I got this one full of brake clean. I have two others, one full of penetrating fluid, one full of WD-40. A variety of earmuffs, right? Your Mercury, Mercruiser, Bravo, plunger. I have multiples of these. I just buy a couple every year. I run the dual feed earmuffs as well with an on-off valve. And sometimes I'll also have another hose coming off if I need to clean up. And then just a DIY inline tool for flushing inboard engines that maybe you can't get to the clamshell underneath the boat because it's sitting on a bunk. I'll use something like this. Getting into some of the marine electronic tools, get yourself a basic load tester. I prefer this one, the carbon fiber. I think it does just fine. I've had it for years. Diagnostic, Reno technology, scan tool. This is the deluxe kit. Comes with everything to scan from like the late 90s all the way up to current. If you want more information on that, you can either look it up or I can give you info. Inside this kit, I also keep a remote start button, inline spark tester, and a hot wire key I made for when the customer forgets the keys, loses the keys, and this works, right? This will work on a lot of your basic inboards, but as we get more sophisticated into the newer generation boats, obviously that's not going to work for you anymore. My bread and butter, this one got a lot of attention back in the day. My power probe. This one's old and beat up, but it still works. The reason this is so clutch, it's got like a 20-foot cable on it, okay? So if I hook this up to the battery in the stern aft end of the boat, I can run all the way up to the dash with this. Okay, so huge badass tool. Know how to use it, read the manuals, don't be sending power you shouldn't. But you can throw power, you can throw ground, you can check voltage, you can check continuity. It comes with a variety of connections, so you can go into a 12-volt cigarette lighter port directly to the battery. There's another extension, so I can go even farther. And then you have your actual power probe tip, so you can go ahead and check your voltages. With that being said, outdrive stand, absolutely necessary. This is a very robust one. I can hold a 9.9 lower unit from a Yamaha all the way up to a Bravo 3 stern drive complete upper and lower. So I find that very useful. If you're old or you're hurt, get yourself a cart, especially if you're going down to piers or anything like that. And then just a generic storage tote to put all your catch-all items. So that was a down and dirty on some of those tools that I find pertinent and that I use repetitively. Let's get into the truck. So this is a 2019 F-250, just recently got it. I wanted to keep the whole presence of kind of having a cool truck that I can still take the family out into dinner, but also have a fully functional work truck. Now obviously I lose a lot of storage and a lot of abilities to if I were to have a utility service truck, but I just wasn't really willing to do that. Keep in mind, I do have a full-time career. This is my side hustle, so it's It's not pertinent for me to carry or drive and operate a massive utility truck, at least not yet at this point in my career. I've been doing this 15 years. We've been in business 3 years now. So let's just start up in the front. For someone like me that also creates a lot of videos, this is where I keep like my tripod, stickers that I hand out to customers after a service. Got to keep those Zins on lock, Altoids, in case you had a ice cold beer before you got to a customer. Might need to freshen that breath up. Just kidding. Phone holder, definitely necessary as mobile. You're going random places every single day that you've never been, so you got your navigation. For me, I keep a couple extra batteries on deck, and that's really it for the front. I like to keep it to where it still feels like a normal kind of like pleasure truck that is not affiliated with the business. I also keep the inside as clean as I can, and no fluids or anything, oils or anything inside the cab. Moving into the back of the truck is kind of a variety of stuff. First of all, I have my kids' stuff. That's just always there. But a backpack kind of goes along with that tote. This is empty right now, but this is what I'll throw stuff in if I'm just going down to a pier or I'm doing a mobile call. I keep a very minimal stock of just random things. A lot of guys have this kind of stuff in their normal truck, right? Starting at the very end. Fire extinguisher, extension cords, jumper cables, some ear pro, random winter gloves, work gloves, and then a variety of very common impellers. I just keep 1 or 2 in stock, and then I'll throw 1 or 2 in here if I am going out to a boat and I'm going to need more. Now, I don't really keep inventory in here because I load up what I need before I go to pretty much every call. So this is just kind of miscellaneous stuff. It's not necessarily inventory. I pretty much have got the business dialed now to where we have well over 100 clients. In my QuickBooks, I have everything. Engine serial numbers, make, model, year, a picture of the boat, everything. So when I'm going there, I know what I need. As long as the customer's a pretty good historian and I ask the right questions. So moving on with that, this is just a generic Amazon fuel pressure gauge. I've only had to use it a handful of times since getting it, but it's worked perfect the couple times I needed it. It's all I need. You know, for any of the haters that have to have this, that, or the other, dude, do you. I'm not saying don't do what you got to do, but if I make a living, then I'm fine. This is one of the Quinn Harbor Freight 1/2-inch impact sets. Absolutely badass. Haven't had an issue with it. Had it maybe a year or so. But again, I'm not automotive. I'm not ripping lug nuts all day. I don't even use it that much. But when I do need it, I have it. So that's it for the inside. There's a few other things that are out on that table that I do keep in here. For instance, all the electrical stuff, the computer, that all stays inside the cab. That doesn't go anywhere where it can either be stolen or ruined. All right, starting on the driver's side toolbox, very basic. Impact driver, steering wheel pooler, bearing pooler, mechanical oil pressure gauge, and digital timing light. This little tote is pretty much all my fuel stuff. Okay, so Oetiker clamp kit, multiple little sections of hose cutter, and a primer bulb. That's pretty much all that's in here. I can pretty much make do with whatever I need out of this little tote, so I just grab it. There is some random stuff. I have my electrical snake in here, which goes in one of the packouts, but made its way in here somehow. And then just a electrical lug nut, electrical lug kit for all your power stuff. Underneath this, I had an awesome friend get me this, just a metric bolt and nut set. I've found myself digging into that a lot lately, and I plan on complementing that with one of the standard sets as well. Moving down, a little section of hose, a Milwaukee step bit set, and a hole saw kit. Here's just I dig into this regularly. This is just a bunch of miscellaneous stuff that I've collected over the years, whether it's electrical connectors, some old stainless steel hardware, fuel sender bolts, a bunch of extra garden hose gaskets, and that's it. If I can't find it somewhere, it's probably in here. 5/16 nuts for little gauges and things like that, shift linkages, just kind of the catch-all of random stuff I may need. Coming down into this tool, this is married to that lug nut. Pretty clutch. Hydraulic lug press. So I use that to crimp all my connections for battery terminals. This isn't, and a lot of this stuff is not everyday use stuff. There's kind of have my bread and butter stuff laid out back. Here's just a tote for all my sticky, gross stuff, right? Mighty vacuum pressure gauge for out drives. A large syringe that I found very useful. I use this all the time, whether it's to evacuate power steering fluid from a reservoir, transmission fluid from a Borg Warner Velvet drive, trim fluid from a reservoir. It's just way easier than a electric pump or whatever type of pump. Just bring this, bring a little container. You can suck it all out. What does it hold? Half a quart, almost a whole quart, I think. So very useful. I use it all the time. And then a few other little miscellaneous items are in there. Some things I've built for vacuum testing, fuel pressure, vacuum and pressure testing, fuel tanks and things of that nature. But it's all in here, and it's contained, and it's all kind of gross and greasy and oily, so it stays in there. Rubber gloves, absolute necessity. I have a ton in the shop. I just rotate them out when I need them. I use these Hardy work gloves from Harbor Freight. I think they're like $2 a pack. I buy 10 packs at a time. I use them. If they get ruined, I throw them away. If I can manage to hold on to a set for a while, I do. Some shop rags. All my sealants and things are in here, as well as some diesel treatment, but gasket sealant, RTV, Loctite, things of that nature. And then a little compartment of hose fittings for, I use this on like Sea-Doos and stuff, which I don't service anymore, but if I need a quick disconnect. Winterized kit, a fuel nozzle, and then again, or a garden hose nozzle, I'm sorry, a ton of gaskets. I hate leaks. I think I got that from the fire service. Here's another impeller I found for an older Alpha. So that's the driver. All right, passenger side toolbox, absolute necessity. I run this big DeWalt grease gun, battery powered. I'll never go back to manual ever again. This thing's killer. You can swap out your grease. Right now it's just got standard marine grease, I think Sea Choice or something like that, but works fine. I use that on whatever's applicable. If I got to switch out for certain greases, whether it be gimbal bearings or packing some wheel bearings or something, I just put the right grease in there and flush it out. This little shelf was made just to utilize some extra space. This is all my long, heavy tools that don't fit in toolboxes, that don't fit anywhere specific. So up top, must have for inboard guides, big, long, extendable magnet for when you drop those sockets or whatever it is underneath the engine. Big pair of channel locks. I pretty much only use these for when I have a seized oil filter. If a wrench can't get it, if a strap can't get it, I'll just throw these on it and destroy it and twist it off. Snap ring pliers for Alpha, that snap ring inside the bellows. A couple chocks of 2x4s for props. A silicone gun for anything I'm doing. Then you got your Alpha ring for your bellows press, right? This goes on the end of your alignment tool, and this lets you press that metal ring on those older generation Alphas. Down here in the bottom, I have another alignment tool. That's an OEM Merc one. I have a slide hammer for gimbal bearings. I have a punch for gimbal bearings, a heavy hammer for driving gimbal bearings. I do have the press as well, but I've just used the driver my whole life, and it's just what I use. Use what works for you. A big pry bar, you know, for getting in there and putting belts on alternators, power steering pumps like that, right? This will help you get that leverage you need. This is just a DIY little all thread with some nuts and washers. This is what I use to do, what are they? The bushings in the struts for, what are they? The cutlass bearings, right? So if I'll drive those out, I'll put these in, I'll get one started, I'll run this through the strut, and then I'll tighten a nut and it'll press that cutlass bearing inside the strut. I have a video on that as well. But that's it for in there. Like I said, long tool storage, stuff that's not even used every day. Moving over here, we have a little bottle of Mercury gear lube. That's to take inside the boat and fill up the reservoir. Some cleaning solution, soapy water as well, used for checking for pressure leaks, right? I'll spray that for soapy water. And then a variety of sealants and sprays, PB Blaster, some starting fluid, WD-40, some Mercon or Dex Mercon, ATF for Borg Warners, some gear lube, a little extra quart of 1540, some cleaning products, and just little funnels. A large Viking jump pack. This is just the one I use. That's all there is to it. There's no reason I don't have a NOCO or whatever. It's just the one I use. Takes up space, but it holds a hell of a charge, especially in this climate that I'm in, where at night it could be 40 degrees and in the afternoon it could be 100. This manages to hold a charge through those varying temperatures pretty well. All right, so here we are at the bed of the truck. I kind of switched over to all Milwaukee for now. This is what I'm using, and it is working. Kind of did a little DIY cargo slide, so if I'm bringing a big outdrive home or something like that, it's just easier on my back to get things in. As far as the packouts, being mounted back there on those base plates, it keeps them tight, it keeps them secure, but it does suck having to get to them. But not everything can be perfectly easy and accessible. You know, sometimes you just got to get in the bed. These are all filled with everyday items. If I need to, if I'm doing a big job, I'll take them all out. I'll put them on a dolly that's built for this, and I can wheel the whole like 5-foot tall stack to the boat. Starting right here is my go-to bag. This is the bag that I can pretty much rebuild a small block Chevy with. This is what I take into every single boat. If I don't need anything out of there, this will accomplish it. I can go through that later in another video if you want, but it's just gloves, standard wrenches and some metric, extensions, ratchets, a bunch of screwdrivers, a variety of screwdrivers running Icon and Snap-on, a whole plethora of pliers and vice grips, and then some Torx, Allens, and basic 3/8 sockets. Couple towels, rags, things to lay down, things to prevent any damage on a nice boat. This is just a oil bucket kit. Variety of wrenches, caps for oil filters, some fittings for sucking oil out with the extractor, and a couple filters. Nothing special, but we are rocking that Harbor Freight. Something the F-250 has that has saved my ass is this step. As I get a little older and as my back gives me issues, this old man step is a necessity. So let's check out the packouts. Miscellaneous variety of things. I do recommend keeping an assortment of hose clamps on you, mirrors, channel locks, some Torx bits, some mirrors to see. Here's a little impeller tool for those, what are these, Inmar. You can thread this in to the center of the impeller, drive this screw in, pulls the impeller out. Older style impeller puller for your more stubborn Bravos and things like that. Any of those brass pumps, things you don't want to damage the housing. You guys already know about the torch. If you need this, you're having a good day. Some big hammers, dead blows, variety of hammers, pipe wrench, things of that nature. Another big thing for inboard mechanics are going to be a variety and assortment of hose picks for stubborn hoses that have been on the boat on a fitting for 10 years. This is going to really help you get down there without busting your knuckles. And then I go through 2 or 3 of these a year. So I just buy a few at a time. Harbor Freight, these big 8-inch flat blades. Once I damage one, it turns into a punch. Sue me. Coming down, this is kind of my power tools. A lot of them are in my backyard from doing a project earlier, but if I could give you one electric tool that I think you need, get yourself a 3/8 ratchet. Nice low profile for any stubborn boats like Formulas, Bajas, those cigarette boats where the seat's right against the pulleys. This can get in there and save you some time. Assortments, this is where all the batteries go. They're all on the charger inside. Some metal step bits, works great on fiberglass too. And then just an assortment of miscellaneous items. A big thread chaser for, what are these? This is for a PCM, I think, the old PCM exhaust manifolds when you're winterizing. They always rust over, they're cast iron. So I'll chase the threads and clean those up. Moving over, assortment of sockets. I'm running all Icon right now. Your long Allens, right, with the ball head, some crow's feet. I got this off Amazon. A assortment of spark plug sockets. Works great when you need them. They're thin wall too for those pain in the butt older outboards where you can't get a standard 5/8 or whatever, 13/16 or whatever it is in there. Some, what are these, Craftsman maybe? Or yeah, Craftsman's assortment of Torx. These are just, I built this rack out of the things I use the most commonly. Allen's 3/8 and 1/4 inch, and same with the lower rack here. O2 sensor kit. I think I got this from Napa. Works perfect. I'll be using that in like a day or two when I go out to do some O2 sensors on an 8.2 mag HO out on the lake. Be taking a dinghy out. Might make a video on that. I'm running all gear wrench right now, gear wrench ratchets. So I just kind of built an assortment of what I use most commonly. Here's my large, excuse me, my large sockets. Volvo Penta dual prop nuts, Bravo nuts. These are specific for what I do for a living, so you can build those out as you need. And then this is all the Alien Space tool organizer. This is built for the Milwaukee packouts. Holds everything nice and tight as a mobile guy. So if I need all this, I'll just take this whole packout out and use it. And then the same thing for all my sockets, which I organize like an idiot, but it makes sense to me. A lot of Icon sockets and then a variety of snap-on stuff. Your flex swivel head, or just your swivel head 3/8 is kind of my go-to. Had it for a very long time. It's been rebuilt a couple times. That's pretty much all I use. And then my gear wrench, big 92 1/2 inch. Cheap bore scope. It is pretty terrible quality, but it does the trick. I can see if there's any corrosion, rust, pitting, anything inside a cylinder. It's pretty much all I use it for. Temp gun, pretty clutch when you're tracing down overheats or exhaust manifolds, and you're trying to check differentiation, and you're trying to check temperatures. I can shoot a manifold and kind of see what's going on. Very useful. Doesn't need to be high-end. The new thermal imaging tick ones, pretty badass. Probably going to get one of those soon. Some extra battery wire, and then a variety of small electrical tools, crimpers, strippers. I've had these for basically my whole life. They still got my dad's engraved name on it, Selby, from when he had them, when he was a technician. They strip and cut. Boom. Just throw a little grease on them and they keep on working. Here's another electrical drawer, miscellaneous fuse holders, some extra toggle switches, relays, circuit breakers, zip ties, a test coil that's just worked for years if I just want to swap one out and check. Older compression gauge, some additional wiring in case I need to extend, replace, corroded or anything like that. This is just kind of a catch-all of diagnostic tools and miscellaneous things you might need out in the field. And then some of another torch, of course, another map gas. Gotta have it. Even though I'm a freshwater guy, I still find myself needing it here and there. But God bless all you saltwater guys, man. I watch your videos and geez, if this don't work and you bust out like the acetylene, I am sorry. Some random grease, some butane for my torch for heat shrinking, and then some miscellaneous silicones for whatever I might be asked to do right there on the fly. One other thing that I have built out kind of for my trade over time are my kind of what I call like my tackle boxes. Miscellaneous stainless steel screws, self-tappers, cotter pins. These are all specifically for interstate batteries. Some miscellaneous fittings, plugs in case I'm pressure testing or need to build something. Punches, drill bits, chases, fiberglass bits. Again, all kind of pertains to my trade specifically, and you guys all know the story with the blue Mercruiser plugs. Can't have too many of those. Next tray, very similar to the tray above, miscellaneous hardware, washers, lock washers, nuts, self-tappers, some specific little Allen screws that I like to use when I'm trying to do like maybe finer finish work. And then a variety of Zerk fittings for replacing Zerks. You know those like to break off a lot when they're corroded, so I'll just extract them. And I'm missing another tray over here, my electrical tray. Let's check that out. And that's pretty much it. But you can see how easy these are to work with. I try not to overload them too much because I don't want to hurt my back. So if I need more stuff, I'll just buy another pack out. But I try to keep these around like 30, 40 pounds, 50 pounds maybe. Here's my electrical tray. This I can just take with me into a boat. A variety of electrical heat shrink connectors, variety of fuses, mini and large, some heat shrink tubing. In case a customer, of course, ends up with an automotive battery, I can throw a couple of these on just to get by for the time being. These are clutch, right? Your eyelet zip ties for cleaning up wiring, running loom, things of that nature. So that's kind of my layout there. And that's about it as far as what I operate with on a regular basis. Now, I didn't intend to or plan to, but I can show you my shop where if needed, I don't have it in the truck and I know what I'm going to do. I'll go into the shop and I'll kind of prepare the truck for a specific job with some more tools, items, inventory, things I have of that nature. So I'll show you that real quick, and that kind of wraps up the all right, so as we walk out into the shop, this is a 20 by 20 steel structure I had built on a concrete slab. It was a man cave for a long time, but it is slowly becoming a little bit more of a boat shop. If I need things, for instance, vacuum, air compressor, tank for shrink wrap, extra gloves, any of that stuff, tons of drive gaskets, right? Inventory for Alphas and a bunch of gaskets for OMCs and Volvos. Some spare shop batteries, extra cables, extra impellers, assortment of those. And then just some random things, some, a trailer strap, a battery tray, things I've bought and maybe didn't use on a call. Another gear lube bucket for your Alpha high performance gear lube, for your Mercruisers, for your Bravos. Small variety. Oil absorbent pads. Keep these weights on them so the wind don't blow them away. Ton of antifreeze potable, right, for winterizations. For all you Florida guys, you probably don't know nothing about that. You don't know about that life. Stay-bill, fogging, oil, filters, miscellaneous, kind of everything. It needs to be organized and cleaned up, but it's operational right now. A little bit of backup oil. I don't keep a ton on hand. Tons of tanks for shrink wrapping. I'll fill all those at the end of the year and get ready to do my winterizes throughout the season. Heat shrink gun, must have for guys out here in our environment. All right, so this is a Dr. Shrink or whatever brand it is, but this is my third one. I absolutely just tear through them. I can do up to, gosh, maybe 100 shrink wraps, maybe less, 70 shrink wraps by myself in a season. And that's a lot of work, dude, doing that mobile, loading all the shrink wrap up and taking it out, and it's a lot of work by yourself, but it's very lucrative income. And then just some more miscellaneous tools. You guys have seen the shop probably in other videos, tearing down out drives. That thing grenaded a while ago, so not a whole lot more fluids in the storage cabinet, ladders for shrink wraps. And then this tool chest is full of kind of like just home tools, some off-brand stuff that I've just kind of filled up because most of what I own is in my truck. And I'm not an automotive guy. I don't do anything. Everything that I own is for my trade. This tool chest here is just home tools. Saws, like things for working on the house. It has nothing to do with the boat repair. But that's kind of it. I hope you guys have a bunch of questions in regards to kind of what I do and how I do it, and I'm sure there'll be a ton of hate on a lot of the Harbor Freight tools and things of that nature, but hey, is what it is. I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to make money, and I'm here to do a good job and provide good quality service, which the business, the reviews, all the reputation speaks for itself. So if I can make do with a cheaper tool, I'm going to do it. But I do have a lot of OEM, Snap-on, Matco. When I need it, that's what I'll use. But what's funny is like a lot of this is Snap-on. You guys have probably, oh, I don't have the old Snap-on tray, but I just leave it in here. I don't even use that stuff. I use all Icon. But yeah, this is all my Snap-on 1/4-inch stuff from, gosh, I got this back in like early 2000s. I don't even use it. I just stick with my Icon, man. It does the trick. And if I lose one or break one, there's 3 Harbor Freights in my town. I can shoot and get one. I lose one of those. What am I going to do? Call a tool truck out to the lake? Not happening. So that's kind of it. Let me know if you have any questions. Like to see your